Peter Eliades with you for Stock Market Cycles Update for Wednesday, October 30th. I love this graphic. I've shown it before. For those of you that haven't seen it, go look for it on our channel, an animated sign chart, which explains to you a lot about what we do here. And let me take a second or two to tell you how much this has helped me in terms of my market analysis. I always had my cycle projections to work with, but I never had this software to work with before the last few months. And because it used to be a lot of work to do the projections, you'd have to set up the correct kind of Fibonacci retracement tool. We don't deal with Fibonacci, but that's what it's called in TradeStation, a Fibonacci retracement tool. And you'd have to put the high and go down and drag down to the midpoint and guess where the highest point or the lowest point was when the joining of the two lines, if it's an intraday chart. It was a lot of work. And for that reason, it's not something I did every single day. Well, now I'm in the habit of doing it every single day, not just for you and not just for the sake of this fabulous new software, but for me too. And it has significantly helped my market analysis because I no longer doubt what I see on my screen in terms of projections. I may think in terms of my own sentiment that we're near a market top, but then I look at what the projections tell me, and they tell me whether, according to projections, I'm near a market top or a market bottom. So this has been a great discipline for me, day in and day out. And I know from your comments that it's been a great aid for all of you out there too. So I wanted to stick that in and let you know that as much as this may have helped a lot of you, it has helped me equally as much because I can stick to what's important. And to me, the most important part of market analysis is these projections that I'm showing you and this projection, fabulous projection software. So that much having been said, let's take a look at what happened today. We did a special intraday update today, by the way. I don't know if all of you regular subscribers know that, but we had come to the point that we discussed yesterday and said we might do a special update if it occurred. So I dropped this chart off exactly where yesterday ended. And when yesterday ended, we had already penetrated below the first offset line, but not the second offset line down here, okay? And at that time, we had a preliminary projection for 30.28 and change. And that projection had not yet been confirmed because we had not gone below the second line. Well, guess what? Let's bring it up to date. The first couple of bars today, in fact, let's see which bar. It was the very first bar today. You can see a close or a median point, a midpoint of the bar, just below the second offset line. When that occurred, we had a projection generated between 30.22 and change and 30.28 and change. And it was in this time zone right here that we decided to do a special update because downside projections had been met. Not only had they been met, but no further ones were given. And we'll show you the next couple of charts in a second. But I also want to show you that, look at this. Later on in the day, when we started rallying back above the offset lines, bingo, this projection window, which was generated with this bar right here, was confirmed with this bar. When we went above both the offset lines, gave this projection, calling for at least 34.75, as high as 30.55.75. So that projection was met in the second to last bar of the day, and it was another success for the cycles, for the cycle projection software. Now let's look, with this one in mind, let's look at the next longer offset, the group of offsets, and we showed you this in the special update, and we told you, look at this area right in here. When we did the update, we were right around this bar, and we said, the Fed announcement is coming out later today. But regardless of what effect it has on the market, there is very little room to get lower downside projections. So there was a good chance that this low that we saw early in the day that met projections could well be the low of the day. That turned out to be the case. And thanks to the cycle projections, we were aware that that could well have been the low of the day. Okay, the only thing left that we're going to look at today is we showed you the special bars or the daily bars on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So let's take a look at those again today, the daily bar projections. And this is the one that we showed, it's one of the ones that we showed you yesterday. So notice that we have an upside projection now to at least 27,247 and change. Okay, now we theorized yesterday that we may still indeed have this even higher projection because the invalidation of this projection was done in one day. This was the only day, I believe, that in fact, even that day it was close as to whether it was below both of the offset lines, and that was emotional selling due to Boeing, due to one stock in the Dow that particular day. So we immediately climbed back above those projection lines again. And climbing above those projection lines again has given a very short-term projection. Now let me distinguish these two boxes for you. This box that we see right here occurred measuring from this low to this crossing point right here. And it's giving you these minimum projections of 27,247 and 27,340. That is not the projection box that we see from this larger crossing using this low right here. We'll show you. Let's picture it for you. This is the low, these are the midpoints, and these would be the projections. I'm theorizing myself that these projections are still in effect, minimum of 27,455 on the Dow. I'm theorizing that they are still in effect because I think this was a phony break here due to one stock, as I said, Boeing. So that projection's in effect, and I would assume, even if it's just a short-term move and we're going to have more consolidation, that before we do that, we would at least reach the 27,247 level, and the Dow closed today at 27,186. So that doesn't leave too much room to the upside, but that's a minimum expectation on my part. The next chart I want to show is this one right here. And this chart on the Dow Jones Industrial Average has a significantly higher projection. Not only that, but there was no namby-pamby here. This projection was given, and it was clear sailing, and theoretically, the projection's telling us it will be clear sailing up to this projection level, minimum of 28,029. I know that sounds very high for a lot of you from where we are right now, but that's what the projection is telling us. There's a minimum upside projection to there. Now, the nice thing about that projection is if it's invalidated, it's going to happen not too far below where we are right now. So we're not going to sit around and wait like dummies and say, oh, no, I know we have a much higher projection. I don't care what the market does in the meantime. No. Projections remain in effect until they are met, and they would be met in this territory right here, or invalidated. And they would be invalidated if the mid price of the day moved below both of these lines. That's where we stand with that projection. Let's look at the very next projection. That's this one right here. And even this one on the Dow shows us that we have a minimum upside of 27,287. Is that what that is? That's what it looks like. 27, yeah, about that. 27,297, I believe, 17. Anyway, what it means is even on this one, there's a projection that's higher than we are right now on a minimum basis. So the bottom line is, I know there's a lot of bearish talk out there, and I might even be bearish myself if I weren't looking at these projections. But I want you to know that there is no legitimate reason in terms of cycle projections to be bearish at this point. Is the market overbought? You bet it is. Is there some bullish sentiment out there? Yes, there is, but perhaps we'll discuss that too in the days to come. that's what you need to know for right now. I hope most of you got a chance to watch that special update today and be notified of it. If you didn't, that meant that you don't have or you are not subscribed to our channel. In order to do that, go to the bottom right of the YouTube video, click on the little red banner there to subscribe. Once you've clicked on that, you can click on the notification bell, put in your email address, and every time we do an update, you'll be notified as soon as it goes online. Thanks so much for watching the update. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.